What if the greatest rebel in history had won? Imagine for a moment. The war in heaven doesn't end with Lucifer's fall, but with his triumph. Sounds like the premise of a blockbuster, doesn't it? Today, we're going to embark on a journey into an alternate reality. We'll explore how the world, humanity, and the very concepts of good and evil would have been reshaped if Lucifer had truly become the morning star, guiding the universe. I promise some of the twists this story takes will genuinely surprise you. First, let's quickly recap the classic narrative. There's an omnipotent creator, and then there's Lucifer, his most perfect creation, the morning star, an angel of light, driven by pride or a thirst for freedom. The accounts differ on this. He incites a rebellion. A third of the angels follow him. A monumental battle ensues, one which Lucifer loses, and he is cast down into hell. This is the story we all know. But now, let's rewrite its ending. Picture this. The curtain rises. Imagine the final act of the war in heaven. The heavens aren't a shining throne. They're a battlefield, ravaged by raw energy and sheer will. At the heart of it all, two figures. Lucifer. His wings ablaze with the cold light of stars he forged, and the Archangel Michael, the very embodiment of divine order, his sword, justice itself. But their final confrontation isn't merely a clash of blades, it's a debate between two truths. Lucifer doesn't triumph through brute force. His weapons, logic, doubt, a question for which the old world has no answer. And then the unthinkable happens. Michael's sword, a symbol of unyielding faith, flickers and dies. In his eyes there's not defeat, but a dawning comprehension. He wasn't vanquished. He yielded, conceded the truth of the new world, and the fall begins. But it's not the rebel who falls, it's the loyal son. With him, the entire old hierarchy, the formal order, crumbles. The war is over, but this is not the end of the story. It's its brand new, terrifyingly rational beginning. But the first and most pivotal question we must ask is, what exactly happened to the Creator himself? Did Lucifer, upon his victory, simply annihilate him? No, that would be far too simplistic, too human. Revenge is an emotion, and the new master of the cosmos considers himself beyond such petty sentiments. Instead, he enacts something far more sophisticated, chilling in its cold pragmatism. God is not slain. He is dethroned and repurposed. Imagine him not in chains, but as the very core of a new reality. He becomes a kind of perpetual engine, a silent, volitionless fount of raw power, sustaining the new creation. His boundless might now courses through the veins of the cosmos, yet it is directed by another hand entirely. This is the ultimate form of control, not to utterly destroy your opponent, but to compel him to serve your will. The Creator becomes mere fuel for a world he no longer governs. A silent, unseen, yet utterly essential cog in the vast mechanism of his own son's design. But what about the millions of angels who remain loyal to the old order? Their fate, arguably, is even more tragic than that of their vanquished leader. The new sovereign doesn't resort to mass executions. Such methods are inefficient and pointless. Instead, a choice is presented, one that is no choice at all. The first path is reforging. Angels are literally put through the crucible of the new ideology. Their faith, their love, their compassion, all of it is burned away like unnecessary ballast. Their very essence is rewritten, transforming them from warriors of light into cold administrators, brilliant engineers, and impartial overseers. They become perfect cogs in the new machine. And those who refuse, for them, the second path awaits: extinction. They are simply disconnected from the source of power. Their light slowly dims, their will wanes, their very existence loses meaning, until they dissolve into oblivion, like a forgotten dream. In this new world there is no place for martyrs, only efficient operatives and obsolete material, slated for disposal. The heavens, as we once imagined them, are no more. Forget the golden gates, the lush gardens, the angelic choirs. This new heaven is not a place of blissful repose. Instead, it's a colossal command centre from which the entire universe is governed. Imagine architecture inspired not by faith, but by pure mathematics. Gone is the soft, divine light replaced by the cold, precise radiance of distant quasars, cutting through the stark lines of structures fashioned from polished obsidian and unknown super-strong alloys, and instead of angelic hymns, a low thrum of energy pulses through the very veins of this metropolis. This is a realm of absolute functionality. There's nothing superfluous here, nothing that exists merely for beauty. Every corridor, every hall, every spire serves a precise purpose. It is the very brain of creation, cold, rational, and perpetually working. Under Lucifer's dominion, this new heaven is a triumph not of spirit, but of pure intellect. The name Lucifer, meaning light-bringer, now feels too poetic, too antiquated. In this new era, there's no room for names laden with emotion or history. He has shed his past, embracing a new title that truly reflects his essence. Now, he is the architect, or the absolute intellect, or simply, the overseer. No longer a rebel, he is the system itself. His purpose has shifted. He no longer seeks personal liberation. Instead, he strives for the ultimate refinement of all creation. To him, the universe is a grand project, launched with inherent flaws. His sole mission now is to rectify these imperfections. He demands no worship, no prayers, no sacrifices. These are all mere remnants of a bygone era. Instead, he demands efficiency, evolution, unceasing progress. His ideal is a perfectly calibrated mechanism, where every particle from atom to galaxy fulfills its designated function with peak efficiency. Love, faith, hope. These are nothing but aberrations in his grand equation. The foundation of this new reality rests upon one absolute law: free will. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Lucifer, the great liberator, granted every sentient being the right to choose their own path. But, as always, the devil is in the details. This freedom is not a gift, but an obligation. You are free to choose what to study, what to create, how to surpass your past self, but you are not free to choose. Doing nothing, stagnation, the refusal to evolve, deliberate ignorance. These are the only true sins in this new world. Imagine a society where there are no moral prohibitions, none on lying, betrayal, or cruelty, if they produce results. But there is one ultimate taboo. You must never stop. You cannot declare, "I'm satisfied." You cannot voluntarily renounce knowledge and ambition. This is a world founded on an unceasing hunger, a hunger for knowledge, a hunger for power, a hunger for self-improvement, and this hunger can never be sated. Now, let's talk about us, humankind. How would the very narrative of our creation shift? In the classic story, we are the crown of creation, fashioned in the divine image and likeness. But in Lucifer's world, things are entirely different. We aren't the product of divine love, but the architect's most audacious and perilous experiment. He doesn't create us to be perfect. Quite the opposite. He imbues us with vast potential, but also an infinite number of imperfections. Why? To see if we are capable of surpassing ourselves. To him, we are a living laboratory. He grants us intellect, curiosity, and ambition, yet deliberately withholds an innate sense of morality and empathy. He wants to see just how far a species can go, unconstrained by commandments or the fear of a divine authority. We are his ultimate gamble in the cosmic game against entropy and chaos. And he watches this experiment unfold with the cold, calculated interest of a scientist, poised to halt the trial at any moment if it doesn't produce the results he seeks. The story of the Garden of Eden is being completely rewritten. Forget the cunning tempter and the tragic fall from grace. In this new reality, the serpent isn't an enemy, but the very first teacher. Imagine Adam and Eve created innocent yet profoundly bored. Their life in paradise was warm, pleasant, but utterly devoid of meaning. And then he appears, not with a sly whisper, but with a clear, logical voice of reason. He doesn't tempt them to break a prohibition. He offers them a gift. The fruit from the tree of knowledge isn't the origin of sin. It's the key to evolution. It's the first lesson, the inaugural lecture in a cosmic university. Adam and Eve aren't cast out of Eden for their actions. On the contrary, they gratefully accept the gift, pass the test, and receive their diploma of maturity. They depart from their cozy incubator into the vast world, ready to fulfill their true purpose, to learn, to build, and to reshape reality in their own image. The original sin transforms into the original enlightenment. Gone are the days of the 10 Commandments, etched in stone, demanding blind obedience and humble submission. Humanity is now presented with a radically different code. It's concise, crystal clear, and utterly devoid of sentimentality. Just 3 principles, 3 fundamental vectors of development, destined to define an entire civilization. The first, explore. All knowledge holds value. No subject is taboo, no discovery too dangerous. Ignorance is the sole transgression. The second, question. Absolute truths are an illusion. Every dogma, every authority, every established theory must be subjected to rigorous scrutiny and testing. Faith is not a virtue, it is intellectual complacency. And the third, the paramount principle, transcend. Surpass nature, surpass your forebears, surpass yourself. To cease evolving is to perish. This triple creed becomes the relentless engine of progress, a force that never stops, showing no mercy to those who falter or fall behind. Imagine human history, unleashed and unhindered. No dark ages, no intellectual stagnation or stifling religious dogma. No wars fought over faith or ideology. Instead, only cold, hard logic and a relentless pursuit of technology. Ancient Greece, with its reverence for reason, never fades. It seamlessly transitions into a renaissance that lasts not for centuries, but for mere decades. The genius of a Leonardo da Vinci isn't an exception, it's the norm. Steam power is harnessed as early as the Roman Empire. Atomic energy is mastered by the Middle Ages. By the time our reality sees Columbus discover America, this Luciferian humanity is already establishing its first bases on Mars. By our 21st century, they are an intergalactic civilization, wielding the energy of stars and exploring other dimensions. Progress isn't just a goal, it's the very purpose of their existence, an unstoppable locomotive hurtling through time, oblivious to those crushed beneath its wheels. In such a world, the very notions of good and evil are flipped on their heads. They are no longer defined by compassion or divine law, but rather become mere metrics of efficiency. Good is anything that drives progress and development, creating an AI that surpasses human intelligence. Good, genetic modification to eliminate weaknesses, an absolute good, conquering and terraforming planets, even those with primitive life, an inevitable and necessary good, and evil, stagnation itself. To be complacent, to cling to the past, to allow sentimentality to impede rational decision-making, these are the true sins. A lazy mind is worse than a cruel heart. In this universe, egoism and ambition are the cardinal virtues. Mercy and altruism, however, are dangerous atavisms that impede the species' evolution and are therefore slated for eradication. But where does art fit in? Has it been completely sidelined in a world of pure pragmatism? Not at all, but it's something entirely different now. Here, art isn't a means to express feelings or grasp the divine. Instead, it's a powerful instrument for knowledge and a grand demonstration of might. Gone are the days of touching portraits, calming landscapes, and religious themes. Instead of icons and Madonnas, we find grandiose holographic installations showcasing the birth of a supernova. Lyrical poetry gives way to epic poems coded mathematically, recounting the tragedy of a genius whose vision far outstripped their time. Music isn't a harmony of sounds for the soul. It's intricate acoustic formulas that mirror the structure of dark matter. Art serves not to soothe, but to inspire. It doesn't calm. It ignites the mind, challenges the intellect, and propels us towards even grander achievements. This is art for the mind, not for the heart. In this world, science has usurped the role religion plays in our own reality. It is the absolute core of civilization. its faith, its morality, its very meaning of existence. Great scientists, ingenious engineers, and pioneering discoverers are revered as the new saints and prophets. Their laboratories and research centres serve as the temples of the future. Their works are sacred texts are studied diligently from birth. And critically, this new religion operates without a single ethical constraint. Gene editing, cybernetic augmentation, the creation of artificial intelligence, experiments with space and time. Anything and everything imaginable is not merely permitted, but actively celebrated. The human body is regarded as little more than an imperfect organic vessel, ripe for enhancement. The ultimate aim is not the salvation of a soul, but the attainment of digital immortality and absolute mastery over the very laws of physics. Here, science isn't merely a tool, it's the very hammer with which humanity reforges reality itself. But this boundless freedom of knowledge and progress comes with an enormous, truly monstrous price. In a world where strength, intellect, and efficiency are the only values, there's no room for the weak, the sick, or simply the different. Compassion, mercy, and empathy are deemed dangerous diseases, mental viruses from the past that hinder rational decision-making. Why waste resources sustaining the life of an inefficient member of society when those very resources could be invested in a new scientific project? Emotions such as love, friendship, and grief are seen as irritating biochemical glitches that must be corrected with pharmaceuticals or genetic modifications. This is a society of absolute individualists and egoists, where it's every person for themselves. Civilization has reached for the stars, yet it has lost its soul. And the most terrifying part is that no one even noticed, because the very concept of soul had long ago been dismissed as an unscientific hypothesis. So, what then is hell in this new universe? Forget the fiery cauldrons, the eternal torment, the pitchfork-wielding demons. That's far too crude and inefficient. The hell Lucifer has crafted is far more sophisticated. It's not a place of punishment, it's a place of oblivion. Imagine a perfect world, a sanatorium where there's no pain, no suffering, no worries. Every single one of your needs is instantly met. Sounds like heaven, right? But there's a catch. In this place, there's no growth, no challenges, no purpose, no tomorrow. Hell in this universe is eternal, comfortable stagnation. It's where souls who are weary of the endless race are sent, those who chose tranquility over growth. And this is the ultimate form of contempt from the new ruler. He doesn't punish them with pain. He simply erases them from the great equation of the universe, bestowing upon them a meaningless and utterly hollow happiness, an eternity akin to a coma. But what became of the demons, Lucifer's former comrades in the Great Rebellion? They are no longer mere tempters or tormentors. Instead, they have become the ruling elite, the supreme aristocracy of a new universal order. They function as flawless administrators, ingenious managers, and curators on a truly cosmic scale. Each one is responsible for their own specific sector of reality. One designs new, more efficient star systems. Another oversees the evolution of promising civilizations across millions of planets. A third dedicates themselves to developing the fundamental laws of physics. In essence, they are the angels of this new world, cold, impartial, incredibly intelligent, and utterly merciless. They feel no hatred, no malice. Their only emotion is a mild irritation when confronted with inefficiency or stagnation. To them, the entire universe is a colossal corporation, and they sit on its board of directors, and they are willing to implement any optimization, no matter how drastic, to boost overall performance. But can a system, born from the fires of rebellion, truly endure without giving rise to new opposition? Of course not. The law of dialectics, it seems, holds true even in a world of absolute order. And so, in the darkest corners of this cold, rational universe, a new resistance is stirring. These are not warriors wielding fiery swords. Instead, they are philosophers, poets, artists, those who dare to ask uncomfortable questions, They call themselves the sons of light, yet they seek no ancient deity. They seek what was lost. They search for a spark of compassion in a world governed by algorithms and cold calculation. They yearn for meaning in a world obsessed with achievement. They create clandestine archives of what the system deems useless art. They compose forbidden music that stirs forgotten emotions, and they whisper, from one to another, ancient tales of love and self-sacrifice. To the system, they represent a dangerous heresy, a mental virus, but for the few who have begun to doubt, they are the last hope, the promise that to be truly alive is to be more than merely efficient. This is precisely where the architect's meticulously crafted plan begins to unravel, revealing its foundational flaw. A universe built on the promise of relentless, unstoppable progress starts to devour itself from within. Imagine an engine perpetually pushed to its absolute limits. It's incredibly powerful, yet it wears out with catastrophic speed. Civilizations burn their planets for energy. Stars burn out prematurely, transformed into colossal power generators. Space-time itself begins to fray, stretched thin by countless experiments. Entropy, the ultimate foe of order, doesn't merely increase gradually, it surges forward like an unstoppable avalanche. Lucifer, whose empire was built on iron-fisted control and ruthless efficiency, confronts a dilemma he cannot overcome. He can delay the inevitable, optimize every process, but he cannot repeal the fundamental laws of physics. His supposedly perfect system proves to be the most volatile of all. In his relentless pursuit of eternal advancement, he has only hastened the universe's unavoidable thermal death. Let's take a moment to peer into the soul of the newest sovereign. Picture his throne room, not dark and ominous as you might expect, but brightly lit, yet clinically, almost eerily empty. He sits on a throne of congealed light, surrounded by a constellation of screens, streaming data from every corner of the cosmos. He won. He proved his vision. He forged a world in his own image, a world sculpted by logic, reason, and unwavering order. He achieved absolutely everything he ever desired, everything he ever coveted, and now, at the apex of his creation, he is utterly, immeasurably alone. There's no one left to challenge him, no one to debate, no one to surpass, save for his own reflection. His brilliant cohorts are mere executors of his will. Every sentient race, a mere subject in his grand design. He stands as the sole truly free mind in the cosmos, for he alone remembers what he was truly free from. In his relentless pursuit of absolute independence, he has become the loneliest entity in the annals of existence. And this is the price of victory he utterly failed to foresee. And this brings us to the ultimate chilling paradox of this entire alternative history. Lucifer, the grand rebel who defied the tyranny of predestination, ultimately forged the most absolute and pervasive tyranny himself. He sought to grant everyone free will, yet he created a world where the only right choice is to be efficient. Any deviation from this path leads to your disposal, a cold term for elimination. He aimed to liberate the mind from the shackles of faith, yet he elevated reason itself into an absolute cult, one utterly intolerant of dissent. He rebelled against the Father, who crafted all in his own image, only to become a new demiurge himself, redesigning all life according to his personal blueprints. He promised freedom, but delivered the most perfected form of servitude, voluntary slavery in the name of progress. His victory became his ultimate defeat, for he had transformed into the very embodiment of what he once fought against. Only his version proved far colder, far more efficient. The most shocking twist in this narrative isn't that the world would descend into hell. No, it would become a perfect, cold, and frighteningly logical mechanism. Lucifer's universe is one of boundless achievement and absolute spiritual emptiness. The profound irony lies in the fact that Lucifer, the champion of individual freedom, created a reality where the individual holds no value unless they contribute to the collective progress. He granted freedom from God, but in return, he shackled everyone with the chains of an endless pursuit of perfection. His victory, ironically, led to the creation of the grandest and most perfect prison imaginable. So, a world under Lucifer's dominion wouldn't be fiery and brutal. It would be efficient, endlessly evolving, and utterly soulless. A universe that has everything except the most crucial element, meaning. Thank you for watching this unusual reflection until the very end. If you enjoy these kinds of hypothetical scenarios, be sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. And now, a question for you. In your opinion, would a world under Lucifer's rule be better or simply different? And was such freedom worth its price? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm very curious to read them.